Now from here we can really start to have some fun with this. Let's keep it on an 8-sided shape, so an octagon. We're turning 45 degrees each time, but now we're going to loop the loop. We're going to take our repeat here and we're going to repeat it again. And this is how we get these really interesting patterns. So, and the inspiration from this project was from something called the spirograph. I don't know if any of you have ever used a spirograph, or if your parents used to play with a spirograph. It's like a series of plastic cogs, and you put a pencil in a hole on the cog and you spin it around inside a circle, and the teeth of the cog determine how many times it spins within that circle. If you Google it, spirograph, you end up with awesome patterns, and I wanted to see if I could make a spirograph in Scratch. So this is kind of my spirograph version. So I'm going to say, let's repeat this octagon 4 times. Now if I click the green flag, we've got our original code and we've put it inside a repeat 4. So let's see what we get. We get our first octagon, 8, but then we just draw the octagon again, the exact same one. So that's not going to look very interesting, is it? This is where we need to use our magic number of 360. And what we do is we turn after we've drawn each of our octagons. So just to break it down again, we draw 1 octagon and then we turn before we draw the next one. Now 360 divided by 4, remember, is 90. So we keep that circular kind of logic happening. We want to always end up at the start so we can carry on drawing again if we want. So we're drawing 1 octagon. There's the code for the octagon. We move 8 times and we turn 45 degrees after each of our lengths, each side. And now we're doing that 4 times, and after each octagon we also turn 90 degrees. And let's see what we get. We should get 1 octagon, now we're going to turn 90 and draw another octagon, and I can see we might need to reposition ourselves here. Let's see. We get another octagon coming off here. Now Scratch is saying that's not a good position for me to be in here. So I'm going to take this back to 0. Let's begin in the middle here. Let's see if we can do this. So Scratch is going to draw 1 octagon. That's going to just squeeze on the page, which is good news. Then Scratch is going to turn 90 degrees and draw me another octagon off in this direction. So 8-sided shape, turn 90 degrees, draw another octagon over here, and then turn 90 degrees and draw 1 more octagon over here. And here's the shape we end up with. Now Scratch starts to get in the way at this point. So over here on looks, I'm going to right at the end of my algorithm say hide, and right at the start I'm going to say show. So we see Scratch actually move because that's useful to see the pattern being drawn. But then right at the end, Scratch is going to jump out the way and hide. So, oh yeah, one more thing. I'm going to take the weight to a slightly less large time. I'm going to make it half as much, just so we see these patterns being drawn a bit quicker now. So we've got 1 octagon coming, turning 90, drawing the second octagon. We can see where Scratch is turning. That helps us understand what's being done here. And then right at the end, Scratch should jump out the way. So we can see the pattern we've made there. We've kind of got this diamond shape in the middle and these octagons kind of in a rotated pattern around it. But it doesn't have to be on a square pattern. It could be on a hexagonal pattern. So if we have 6 of these octagons, then we're going to use our logic again here to say, well, that should be 60. How do I know? Because 8 times 45 is 360. Or 360 divided by 8 is 45. So as long as these two match up, they make 360. And as long as these two match up and make 360, and don't forget you can use Google to help you with this, 360, and we use / in computing to mean divide. So 360 divided by 8 gave us 45. And here it is. 360 divided by 8 is 45. Now 6 divided by 60, 6 times 60, or 360 divided by 6, gives us 60 again here. So let's see, this time we're going to get these octagons. Let's make them a touch smaller. But we should get 6 of them now. And to make sure we end up at the start, we're turning 60 degrees after each octagon. Let's see now. First octagon. Number 1. Now we only turned 60 degrees. And let's have another one. There's 3, we've got 3 more to come. Another octagon. Here's the 5th one. And here's the 6th octagon. So now we start to get like a flower type of pattern, don't we? And patterns within patterns. We get these diamonds and these overlaps and these kind of 3 spiked kind of things happening. Let's try one more. I'm going to try 8 octagons now. So here's my octagon code. And I'm going to take 45 again for this. Because we know that 360 divided by 8 is 45. So these two blocks need to match up. And these two blocks need to match up. And this is how long my sides are going to be. So let's pop it back in. And after each octagon, we're doing 8 of them this time, but after each one, we turn 45 degrees. And let's speed it up a bit more still. So we're only waiting 0.2 seconds. So 1/5 of a second between each octagon. Rather, between each side. So here we go. 8 octagons. And you'll notice something's going on here. When we start to get the same number, so if I did 6 hexagons, or 5 pentagons, or 4 squares, we start to get something kind of magical happening. Can you see these rectangles in here? Look, there's the top of the rectangle and the side of the rectangle and the front of the rectangle. Or can you see this cube here? Can you see the cube? It's a 3D cube. Can you see how we start to get these patterns within patterns? Sometimes you'll see them pushed in, sometimes you'll see them sticking out, depending on how your brain flips it. Some of you might just see this kind of cross. You might just see the individual diamonds. You might see something that I'm not mentioning at all here. But we get something really quite cool and magical when we've got the same number here, and therefore the same numbers here and here. So it works on 10-sided shapes, 10 decagons, or 6 hexagons on here. I want you to have a go and see if you can try 5 pentagons, 7 heptagons, 8 octagons, 9 nonagons, 10 decagons, and so on, and see the amazing shapes. And then just experiment. You can try any numbers in here. You're going to end up with some wonderful star shapes just by trying random numbers in here. See, once you understand the rules, then you can break the rules. So understand the rules like a mathematician, and then break the rules like an artist. Is how I like to think of this. Okay, we're calling this algorithmic art. We're making art with algorithms, so we're using very strict rules to create these patterns and shapes. But then I want you to be artists too. I want you to experiment, play with the code. What's nice about this project is that you can instantly see the changes you make to your algorithm in the pattern that you're creating.